everyone. Welcome back to our 2020 ICONTAC. And here, I would like to announce some information for you. Okay, please kindly wait until right, okay, at 10 a.m. Okay, the keynote speaker one will be Prof. Marek Tesar, PhD, from University of Auckland, New Zealand. Okay, and the moderator will be Dr. Diah Andika Sari, okay, Master of Educations. Okay, the presentations will be 30 minutes. Okay, and after the presentations time is over, you have time to do some Q&A sessions. You can ask, and the moderator will guide you. And also, of course, the keynote speaker will try his best to answer you. Okay. And after the Q&A session is over, okay, the moderator will guide you into the second keynote speaker. And he is Dr. Muhammad Sayuti, MPD, PhD. Okay. And you will have time also 30 minutes, okay, to present. And also after that, you will have Q&A sessions. You can ask, okay, about the topic that have been presented. Okay. And after that, keynote speaker 3 is Prof. Ahmad Roslan, former of guidance and counseling at UTM. And the moderator will be Ms. Mutiarani, okay? And the amount of time span will be 30 minutes for the presentations. And after that, you will have 15 minutes also to have Q&A sessions, okay? And after that, we have break time, and see you again at 1 o'clock for parallel sessions, okay? And there will be breakout rooms, so make sure you are in the right breakout rooms, and make sure you are in the right WhatsApp group so that you can gather right information about your schedule. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, just make sure you contact me. And see you again next time. Please kindly wait at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
siswa kami akan menampilkan tarian kreasi yang bertema musim, yaitu musim hujan dan musim kemarau. Orang tua kami melakukannya secara bersama karena situasi yang memungkinkan di wilayah kami. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In Aotearoa, is that right? Aotearoa, New Zealand. And overseas, he has published over 100 peer-reviewed publications. His scholarly work has received numerous prestigious national and international awards and accolades. He edits 3 educational book series with renowned publisher, is editor of 6 academic journals, and sits on 20 international editorial boards. Wonderful. In 2016, Marek led a team of international and local experts in Indonesia to establish a research center of excellence for early childhood education, care, and parenting that serves the region. While his research is mainly focused on the early years,
He has substantial experience and knowledge of educational system more generally. Since 2018, Marek has been leading of team a New Zealand early childhood expert to deliver curriculum framework and teaching and parenting programs in China. Wow. Marek has conducted consultancy and research work in many countries around the world in 2020. Marek was appointed as a research fellow at CMU to provide expertise on future research and development initiatives and programs and enhance cooperation in education, science, and culture in South Asia. That's wonderful, Mr. Marek. So, uh, uh, I will please you. The time is yours.
Terima kasih, Dr. Dia. Thank you so much for your wonderful. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I did.
So, sorry, thank you so. I can hear my echo. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction and very generous introduction. And I would like to really thank the whole committee at the Muhammadiyah University, Jakarta. Thank you for your generosity for having me here with you today, and thank you to rector and dean and all other keynote speakers, respected audience, and it's so wonderful to be with you today. I have to say I'm really sad that we are not together in person. As Dr. Dia said, and we have communicated over the years together, I really much engage and work with people in a room. I believe in the idea that we should be together. Unfortunately, during the time of pandemic, it's not possible. So I'm really thankful for to the committee and to Dr. Dia and everybody else for being able to establish at least this way so we can connect and be together. But I really hope that hopefully next year we will be all there together in Jakarta and taking a lot of photos and eating delicious food. But for now, this is my presentation. I have included on my PowerPoint, as you can see, my contact details. So if you want to contact me afterwards, there is my email address, there's my WhatsApp, there's Twitter that I use. Please do connect with me. I'll be delighted to hear from you after the presentation if you won't have time to ask any questions. The presentations that I will present today is very much in the theme of the conference that was presented. I think teaching and learning beyond technology is such an important topic, and it's a topic that's so worthy of really researching. I, in particular, focused on early child education. I want to focus on early child education, and my presentation is called Early Child Education 2020, What Have We Learned Thus Far? And it's really important, as it is November already, to sort of do some kind of stock take. What has actually happened since that beginning of a year? I just want to check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dia, much appreciated. So first of all, something about New Zealand. I use this graph to sort of showcase what 2020 sort of looks like. And I'm in touch in Indonesia with a lot of my friends, whether it's in Semarang, whether it's in Jogja, in Upi, or in Padang, or elsewhere in Jakarta. And I know that situation differs from different countries. But if you look at this graph, you see June, and you can see that daily new confirmed COVID cases, and you can see that New Zealand was nearly at the bottom. Now, the reason why we are at the bottom was that New Zealand government took approach that was called go hard and go early. What that means is preempt, act before there is a crisis, prepare for it. You see what's happening around you, Start acting now, not tomorrow. Do not respond to the crisis, but create an opportunity for your citizens to be prepared. And I think that this is something that's really important because it links to what I would call our approach to early childhood education in New Zealand. And that is Tefariki. Tefariki is a curriculum. Tefariki means a woven mat. So it's a mat made out of flax. And you can see on the right there is an image of Tefariki, which is on the cover. And Tefariki is underpinned by a vision for children who are competent and confident learners and communicators, who are healthy in mind, body, and spirit, secure in their sense of belonging, and in the knowledge that they make a valued contribution to society. So what's really important here is that Tefariki as a curriculum is really guided by the vision. We need to work with these children and families. We need to prepare them for the future. So it's not about responding to a problem. It's about creating an opportunities and being proactive. That links also with the idea in New Zealand, what we have, and something that I really like to work in Indonesia with as well, and that is what is curriculum. Because we're talking about teaching and learning beyond technology, or teaching and learning per se. And I would argue that the curriculum is not only the things that are written somewhere, that are published by ministry or by organizations or created by schools. It is the sum of all experiences, of all activities, of all events, whether they are direct or indirect, and they occur in an environment that is designed to foster children's learning and development. And I think this is really important because these aspirations here are for everybody, for all children, parents, and families. Tefariki, as you can see, is filled with principles and strengths. And I think they are very aspirational. They are so important. The principles of empowerment, of holistic development, of family and community, of relationships, and the strengths of well-being, belonging, contribution, communication, and exploration. And I have to say that these are really important points. And I'm lucky in New Zealand that I work with a lot of Indonesian scholars. So I supervise a lot of Indonesian PhDs. One of my former student, Dr. Ali Foman, for example, from UNES, from Samarang, he really likes the Tefariki and he likes that critical framework. But we always need to talk about that. It's really important to understand that curriculum is based upon the place where it belongs and where it is enacted. And we need to respect that every country has its own curriculum and own way how they do it. But it is up to us in this kind of cross-national way to really interact and to really understand how can we and what can we learn from each other. So one thing that I think we can learn from each other is that I think all academics and experts, all the doctors and professors, they are like a little scientist sometimes, and they put on their white coats and they run around and they examine. And I love this image because it shows these blind scientists as they touching with their hands elephant, and they saying, what is this? Is this a wall? What is this? Is this a fan? Is this a spear? It's a snake, it's a tree. But what it requires you to stand back and to look at the whole picture and to understand that it's not a wall, it's not a tree, it's not a snake, it's not a fan, it's an elephant, and these are the parts of the elephant. And I think this is so important in current education system because what it allows us to see is that we get so focused on a limited view, on a particular aspect, without understanding the whole holistic potential of a situation. And unfortunately, often the elephant, or the elephant in the room, as we say, it's a child. And we tend to focus on individual small aspects of a child, on its language development, or its physical development, or the knowledge of mathematics and something. And we sort of fail to stand back in order to see that this is the whole child. And we need to holistically look at things that are not happening. So, in other words, this is what the curriculum that I just before I emphasized for, what can we learn in 2020 thus far about the education? And I have to say that first lesson that I want to project is that what we've learned thus far this year is that technologies do not fix educational problems. And I strongly stand behind it. What we have learned is that we all can become, and children can learn from home, and teachers can use WhatsApp and Skype and Zoom and all the Woo and all the other mechanisms. But it still doesn't help us to overcome the educational concerns and problems that we had before the pandemic. So, and it seems to me that a lot of countries in the world have put a lot of emphasis ever since the pandemic into technology, as if technology was that fix that's going to help the quality of curriculum, the quality of teaching and learning, the quality of teachers, and the issues that the children are meeting every day, whether they are in the cities or in the rural areas or in villages, whether it's Palau, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, or in Sumatra or Java, you have still dealing with the same problems. The second key learning from the lockdown, I would say, is that parents are the first teachers indeed. Far is that we always sort of assume that we know that, and I know that there is a lot of research, and Piaget was always saying that parents are the first teachers, but we sort of always put the teachers first, and we always put so much emphasis on education and on teachers. What we have learned really during lockdown and during the time that the families being together at home was that parents did not only 12 hours of work, but when they finished, they did another 6 hours with their children, helping them and educating them and helping them with homework. And everybody was just so exhausted. And it doesn't really matter, again, if United States or UK, Australia, New Zealand, or Indonesia, we were all in the same boat there. The parents and children were learning together, and parents became children's first educators again. And I think that this is a key lesson that we cannot forget, because again, it wasn't technology. It was the interaction between the parent and a child that made a difference in a child's education this year. And I think there's something key to learn for us to look back when the pandemic is over, and it will be over. When it is over, that we really reconsider what's happening in that parenting space. How can we support parents to really be effective first teachers of our children? Third lesson from the lockdown. What we've learned is that we need place, space, and bodies in education. What we have learned that no matter how amazing our backgrounds in Zoom can be, and no matter how great breakout rooms we can create and what places and spaces we can engage with in online education, we still realize that there is still a need for place, space, and human bodies in education. That education is lacking something, it lacks human body. That there is a real difference learning from a teacher on a screen and learning from a teacher who is in front of you, a real person. That we're really missing learning from each other. Children as a collective, learning from each other, from each mistake, supporting each other, or just teasing each other. It's all part of that sum of all experience, is part of the curriculum, and we're missing it. Just think about my lecture now. I think I would love to be there in person. For sure, it would make more sense for you to see me standing and seeing my hands and my body moving and the PowerPoint and everything clearly. But this is what it is. The fourth point I want to raise is what we've learned is that communities are working together, supporting each other and offering kindness. And we saw it over and over again. We somehow became cynical over the time, thinking that there is actually that the humans are not kind to each other and neighbors don't know each other. And what we've learned is we became to know our neighbors. We became to know what's happening in our local environment as we couldn't travel, and we We had to only walk around. We saw the signs encouraging everywhere for people to check up on each other. Don't. But in a lot of the bear, children would be going for walks and they would be seeking them up and hunting bears. It's based upon the old children's songs. We're going for a bear hunt, obviously. And the bear hunt also needs a face mask. So it's really important and educational experience as well. And it's a kindness. The other thing that we've learned, which I have to emphasize, and I cannot emphasize this enough, and this is from United Nations website, is that while we need to perform physical distancing, we do not need to perform social distancing. So we need to stand a bear apart, as they say. So if you have two children, you explain to them, you actually cannot play with each other. You need to stay bear apart. Imagine there is a bear between you, about 2 meters long or 6 feet long, and you cannot move him. On the other hand, we need to show kindness and look at the next image with a neighbor reading a book to the children on a balcony next to them, and they are listening, including a cat. And that social distancing, we cannot accept. Physical distancing, yes, we need to protect ourselves and the others and our families, but not social distancing. And I think there's been a lot of language that's being used inappropriately because it has allowed really us to think about what is a social distancing as opposed to physical distancing, and it gave people permission to sort of retreat and not to care about the others. And I think it's quite the opposite. Physical distancing, yes. Social distancing, never. The last lesson that I want to really portray is the troubling new normality. We tend to say, and I've heard it over and over again, and I heard it from Indonesia the other day as well, that this is a new normality, the COVID. I refuse to accept it. I want to challenge that. I don't want this to be new normality. And I think the second we start talking about new normal or new normality, we are giving power to the current environment. I cannot accept playgrounds that have the yellow crime tape around them and saying that you cannot enter. I cannot accept empty classrooms around because, as I said before, we need bodies and spaces in education. I want to trouble this new normality. I believe that this is not a new normality. I believe this is exceptional time that will pass and we will return together to the classroom. We need to keep the optimism. The other lessons, what became visible during COVID, is really important. It has enhanced inequalities. We had so many inequalities before in education between socioeconomic backgrounds and classes and religions and different urban-rural divides and ethnicities. And COVID-19 has furthered those who were poor and didn't have resources for their children were the worst off during the pandemic. It's enhanced the inequalities that existed before. What we also learned was that the planetary outlook and climate change still remains the most significant issue that we face, regardless whether we are in a pandemic or not. Our planet is here and we need to protect it for our future generations and for children. And the last thing what we've really learned is that we need a high quality educational research on COVID-19 and its impact on children, childhoods, education, parenting, and well-being. We have a lot of guesses and we have a lot of opinions, but we need a high quality educational research and we are working on some. So watch this space. Maybe next year we can present some. So what are the recommendations, the lessons from the lockdown? I would say that education requires both philosophical and structural attention. What I'm trying to say is that it's not only about technology, it's about the philosophy, it's about the way we're thinking about it. It's about creating an opportunities for education to become really the driver of the change. We learned that online, digital, distance forms of education will not resolve our existing issues. They are important to have a high quality online distance forms of education, but the issues and concerns of our education remains. And what are these issues? Quality, content, policy, investment, working conditions, professionalism, partnerships with parents, children's rights, school readiness, etc., etc. All these remain a huge concerns, and online digital distance forms is like a band-aid, it's like a plaster, it's not a solution. And what we also not need, and this is where Muhammadiyah University and Dr. Dia, especially here, been fantastic, create a national and international partnerships, stakeholders, connect people together, work together in this space, collaborate. Because we don't want this, what's on this slide. We don't want this picture. We don't want everybody to be facing the same exam, climb the tree, when you have a children with different abilities, or as this picture portrays animals, how it is fair for a goldfish, monkey and penguin and elephant and dog to climb a tree, and to say it's fair because it's the same task, it's the same exam. And we do need that kindness. We do need that kindness, and we do need those hugs. And we can't wait for the moment where children will be able to hug each other in a classroom. We can't wait for that. And you can see the cyclists here. We need to look after each other, whether it's an animal or koala in Australia or someone else. We need to look after this planet and look after each other. Only then we can be successful. And perhaps as a final thing, just to look into these educational futures, the philosophy of education. I said that we need not only structural, we need also philosophical change. And I think there are three really important thoughts here. And I selected three philosophers from three different continents and three different times. There's an Aristotle from over 2,000 years ago from Europe, who claimed the educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. What a wonderful quote that reminds us the power and importance of quality education. John Dewey, the famous educational philosopher and the father of the whole progressive education in the United States that spread to China and Asia and everywhere else, claimed education is not preparation for life. Education is the actual life itself. And finally, Nelson Mandela from South Africa, the fighter for freedom, he argued that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And he was right. Only the educated can make the difference. Only through education you can learn how to govern yourself and the world and to make those positive changes. So terima kasih. Thank you for this wonderful time and for this opportunity and generous opportunity to share with you research. Here are my contact details, and Dr. Dia, the floor is yours, and I'm very happy to answer any questions. Terima kasih. Thank you. Tiora.
Oh, thank you for the great presentation, Mr. Mark. Before I got a question, maybe I will make a point what the Mr. Mark has presented today. I get 3 points that from Mr. Mark presented today is one, curriculum should be adapted to each region. Good curriculum in one area, not necessarily suitable for other areas. The second is technology cannot replace the role of teachers, and then parents are the first teacher for the children. And the third, COVID-19 restores the role of the parents. So what is the question? Mr. Marek?
Yes.
Can we know how your curriculum Wahakiri? Yeah?
Tefariki, yes.
Okay, sorry to spelling it.
That's okay, it's very difficult language.
Yeah, how the curriculum that you use in practical daily in a school day?
How the curriculum, sorry, what? What's the question?
How the curriculum applicated in the daily activities in school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What the example?
Yeah. Right. So thank you for this question. That's Dr. Dia. And thank you for those wonderful remarks. I feel really blessed to have you as a moderator. I think you have really created such a good. Those are such a good comments. I think that I would like to say a couple of things about the curriculum and how it is enacted in practice. So one thing that's really different about New Zealand and other countries, and I think it's really exciting to see that's happening. I'm not saying it will work for every country. That's why I'm not promoting it as the best way how to do it. But what I'm saying is it really works for us, for New Zealand. And that is that curriculum is really aspirational document. What that means, that curriculum is aspirational document, that it provides us with some ideas around where we want to go and aspirations for children and for families and for teachers. However, it's up to each individual early childhood center or school to interpret that curriculum, because the curriculum is a very philosophical document, and to make their own actual curriculum. What that means is that different early childhood centers or different schools in the same city, despite they follow the same curriculum, they may actually teach different content, because what it really matters and what we really believe here, that curriculum, as I said before, is the sum of all experiences. And what that means is the experiences that you as a learner and the teacher bring into the classroom really matters. And they help to shape what kind of knowledge is being learned within the boundaries of that higher philosophical grounding. What do we imagine that the learner should be when they leave the school? So for example, it may happen that in a history or geography class, we may be learning very different things and about different countries or different events everywhere. It's not prescribed which events and what things we need to know. We all know that we need to learn what is relevant to us. The second point which I want to raise based upon your question is that it is problematic to have curriculum like that. Because then, of course, once you go into a situation where you go into international comparison and there is a PISA or OECD or something, you may not receive the best result, but what you will do is you fulfill the philosophy of the curriculum, and that is to educate children how to live well together and how to be happy and successful and have a full well-being. The third point I would raise is this kind of approach is also very strained and very difficult on a teacher education. Because what that means is that you're preparing future teachers that are philosophers, that need to create curriculum every time they prepare and walk into the classroom. They don't follow a curriculum. And I know a lot of teachers complain, I need to follow a curriculum in other countries, but it requires a high quality educated teacher to be able to create every day a curriculum. And that's a challenge. So that's in a nutshell how curriculum works. But I would like to just all invite you when you can to come to New Zealand and see it for yourself. I'll show you around.
Alice. Okay, that's very wonderful and clear answer, Mr. Marek. But one of the question from Dina Sarifah Nasution, she asks, is it possible Wariki apply in higher education or on college? Thank you, Miss Dina.
Apologies, I need to unmute myself. Still happens even after 6 months. So that's a very good question. I don't think you can apply to Fariki or the curriculum. The curriculum is really well-researched curriculum focused on, you can see it online, you can download it, it's fully available for free. It's available it's focused on children and it is focused on families. What we can apply in higher education, I believe, are some of the key principles and key strengths that the FARC is really demonstrating. And that is the idea of partnerships, the ideas around communication, the ideas around being together and learning how to live well together. It's so important in higher education as well. I think that creating community in our classrooms and universities make a huge, huge difference. And I would love to, so for example, for me, this is so difficult because I'm a person who likes to be with people. I like to really, and Dr. Dia knows that because we discussed it, and I would love to be there and give a lot of workshops and support you and work with people maybe next time. And that makes such a big difference to create a learning community at the tertiary level. But that's something that the FARC is teaching us to do. And I think that if the FARC is implemented on early childhood level, it will allow children to grow up as those adults who are then part of that community. So that will be my answer.
Thank you, Mr. Mark. I think that's clear answer too. This is the last question from Christy from Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember. She wants to confirm and ask something related to your presentation. Having parents as a first teacher for the children is indeed essential, as parents will be the role model for children. But, however, not all parents seem to be aware of this noble duty, especially those who are having outside the house for quite long time. How would they be a good role model for their children? That's a question from Christy from Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember.
Thank you so much, Christy, from Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember. I have to say, this is amazing and really good question. I mean, all questions were really good, but this one is really, really good. And if I know the answer, I would write a book and be a millionaire because I'm sure it would resolve the whole parenting issues. But unfortunately, we don't have an answer for that, but I still want to answer it in a way that I believe what needs to happen. I think that we've been swaying back and forth about parents, and I think that there are a number of ways, and it's about small steps, what can be changed. First of all, I think in a lot of ways, what I observed over the past 20 years being in education is that teachers and institutions often don't treat parents with respect. And if they don't treat them with respect and don't treat them as those first educators, don't make that first step, it's often very difficult for parents to really understand often the importance of education, especially in those regions. And it can become highly problematic. And yes, that's true. Not everybody is a great role model. That's why we tell people and we want everybody to be a great role model. And I think that no one is born a great parent. We become great parents. When I became a parent, despite I've been for years early child educator, I have to relearn everything itself. When you're doing it yourself and you're a parent, it's very different than being a teacher. And many of you know it who are parents and teachers at the same time. It's very different. And I think we all need support of being a good parents and good role models. That doesn't mean that we need to be indoctrinated with some idea of what we need to do. But what we do need to really all do is to reflect upon what we're doing and how what we're doing is impacting upon our children. And for that, we need to understand research. We need to understand what first 1,000 days of the life of a child means. We need to understand the child, despite young infant, toddler, young child, despite they do not talk, they listen and they understand everything. They read the situation. We need to understand what it means to, when we behave in a particular way in front of a child, what kind of role modeling we're offering them. And it happens to all of us, not only some particular parents. And I think we need to be it's really important to understand. And I always believe, never blame a child, but never also blame a parent. Look at what we can do as an institution, as a society, to change the way we are. I often hear, and I heard it from Indonesia just a couple of weeks ago, it's very interesting. They said, how can we make parents to come closer to our schools and universities? And I say, well, I don't know if that's the right question. The purpose of education systems and institution is not to grab parents and bring them closer. Perhaps the point is for the institutions to come closer to parents, because there is a potential that we actually may be misjudging how we can support best parents. And one of the, actually, Dr. Dia, one of the seminars that I wanted to do, if I would be there in person, was actually on parenting and on the idea of what institutions can do to enhance the partnerships between families, children, teachers, and the institutions, to bring them together, to see how community together can really support and raise children, and for parents to become those role models they want to be. Because I tell you one thing, and that's the last sentence, I promise, Dr. Dia, I know you're aware of the time and I talk a lot, that there is one thing that everybody, and it doesn't matter if it's a parent from the central Jakarta, or if it's a parent from a small rural village in Kalimantan, all these parents, despite their ethnicity, socioeconomic background, religion, or kasih.
Have a nice day, stay safe, and keep healthy.
Yeah, and I will be logging in throughout the conference. I'm really looking forward to hearing other presentations, and go well. And I'm just really want to thank for the generous invitation, and to everybody at the Muhammadiyah University for being such an amazing host and creating this superb event to support our educational futures. Thank you so much. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marek. Now, for the next season, we have Bapak Dr. Muhammad Sayuti, MPD, PhD. Assalamualaikum, Bapak.
Salam, I'm ready.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, very good indeed. Yourself?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I'm Dia.
Dr. Dia.
Yes. Nice to know and to meet you in the event.
Yes, nice to meet you too. This is our first time to see each other, right?
Yes, and the first I chatting you last night to inform you that
I went to Jakarta many times, but I never meet you.
Oh yeah, I'm a lecturer in early childhood education.
Which campus is that? Which campus?
Kirende.
Oh yes, I never been there.
Oh, please come to our campus.
Okay, inshallah someday.
Okay, Bapak Sayuti, you have 30 minutes to presentation and 15 minutes for QA.
Okay.
So before you start to present, I will read your bio, a short bio.
Okay, please. Don't read all of that. Yes, only some important information. Yes.
Because CV is very long.
Yes.
Okay, Muhammad Sayuti, MPD, MED, and HD, yeah, got his bachelor's degree from IKIP Yogyakarta in mechanical engineering education. He has 2 master's degrees from educational research and evaluation from Yogyakarta State University and from vocational education and training for the University of Wollongong, Australia. Bapak Sayuti got PhD in vocational education and training, Faculty of Education and Arts, University of Newcastle, Australia. He got the scholarship for pursuing master and PhD program. Wow, that's very wonderful. Currently, he is a lecturer in the Master of Vocational Teacher Education at Ahmad Dahlan University, Yogyakarta since 2008. And he is also the Secretary of Higher Education and Research and Development Department, or Majelis Dikti Litbang, PP Muhammadiyah. since 2015. He is also a member of National Accreditation Organization or BAN-SM, and he is a special branch leader in New South Wales, Australia. He has so many publications and active in various activities, both national and international. In international, such as Rector's delegation of 24 Muhammadiyah universities to collaborate with universities in Taiwan, delegation of Muhammadiyah Higher Education for collaboration with Jichi Medical University and International University of Health and Welfare. He also got honors as the best researcher on the World Bank Poverty Research Competition at 2005. Oh, we are very honored for your willingness to be our keynote speaker in the Faculty of Education, Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta International Seminar ICONTAC. Welcome for Bapak Muhammad Sayuti, SPD, MPD, MED, PhD. The time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Dia. So I will start my presentation here. Okay. Okay. Second one. Please write my. Okay. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Alhamdulillah wa syukrulillah wa la hawla wa la quwata illa billah. Allahumma sholli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajmain. Raditu billahi rabba wa bil islami dina wa bi Muhammadin nabiyya wa rasula. Rabbis rohli sadri wa yassirli amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you, Dr. Dia. On behalf of the Higher Education Research and Development Council of the Central Board of Muhammadiyah, I would like to congratulate and appreciate the ICONTAC 2020 held by Faculty of Education, University of Muhammadiyah Jakarta, UMJ, with the hope that this conference may provide enlightenment, guidance, direction, and offer solution to the complexity of education in Indonesia. I will deliver this address in two parts. The first is to introduce Muhammadiyah Higher Education, or PTMA, to the audience of this conference, because I know that I was invited on behalf of the council. In the second part, I will briefly present my reflection related to 20 years of education policy in Indonesia, very brief of course, and how it relates to education performance both nationally and regionally. Okay. Next, yes. In the first presentation, I want to show to the audience Muhammadiyah at this time being running 164 institutions in Indonesia. Muhammadiyah was established in 1912. So that means before the independence of Indonesia from the Dutch.
Pardon, Bapak Sayuti.
Sorry, yes.
Can you show slideshow?
Okay, I will do.
Thank you.
Sorry, this one. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have 164, oh sorry. 164 institutions around Indonesia. For example, we have 4 in Papua, we have 1 in Maluku or Molucas, and then we have 10 in Kalimantan, we have a lot in Sulawesi, 23, and then we have 35 in Sumatra, we have 7 tertiary institution in Nusa Tenggara, West and East Nusa Tenggara included. Also, 84 of them, the majority of them are in Java, constitute of 84 institutions, 27 universities, academies, polytechnic, and so forth. So this is the list. Yeah, 164, 64 total of universities, 90 institute, and also we call sekolah tinggi, academy, and polytechnic. So refer to the accreditation of the 164 institutions. The majority of them already accredited, 71.8% already accredited under the National Accreditation Body, BAN PT, and 28.2 of them are ongoing process to be accredited. Some of them are new established institution. So this is the number of study program or courses, and maybe in overseas we call course, but in Indonesia the most familiar term is study program. So the total number program under the Muhammadiyah system is about 1,800 something. So mostly, yes, accredited, more than 1,000. So, and some other on the process of accreditation because some of them quite new or renewing their accreditation. And we can see from this graph that more than 207. Dr. Dia, I say more than because this number is very dynamic. Yes, so it was August 2020. I know that the number of A and B and also C are growing. So if we collect data again this year, this month, maybe the number of A accreditation will be more. So 207 study program are accredited with A level. So this is referred to the accreditation. From the total 1,843 study program, mostly is for bachelor. You can see 74.1% are delivering bachelor. And then we have 12 PhD program, Dr. Dia. You can see in 2020, we have 12 PhD program all over Indonesia with 140 master program. So this is the brief information about our education system. Okay, next one. I think you are part of this graph, Dr. Dia. So we have mostly male with 8,875 male lecturer. So constitute of 51.8%, and the female is also more than 8,242, or about 48.2% of female lecturer. Also, we can see from the academic position, yes, we have 132 professors so far, associate professor more than 1,000, assistant professor for lecture in Indonesia, more 4,000, assistant professor in Indonesia we call assistant ahlinya asisten, so more than 6,000, and then lecturer with the total number of lecturer is 17 and 177 number of lecturer all over Indonesia. So this is a number of PhD holder, so include Dr. Dia and myself. This is fast growing number of PhD from Muhammadiyah University from 1.8 to 2.0, and now is more than 2,000. According to this number, we might Muhammadiyah University system provide maybe the biggest number of PhD compared to other organization. Yes, don't compare to the government, of course. It's not comparable. So if we compare to other private provider, we might consider the Muhammadiyah education system is one of the biggest. So this is number of students, you know, that affected by the pandemic, because the number of students is decreasing in the last survey in August 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, and Dr. Dia, this is a brief information about the Muhammadiyah higher education system. Yes, to give you brief information, the potential, also the problem of Muhammadiyah higher education system. The second part is my reflection about education problem in Indonesia, especially refer to my own experience. Yes, after 7 years of independence, we independent from the Dutch colonialization in 1945. Indonesian education system still face serious problems that illustrate its weak and fragile foundation in many aspects. Indicator of lagging achievement in the direction of Indonesian education development can be seen from the lagging behind from countries that are free from colonialism conflict, such as North Korea or Vietnam. North Korea, they end the war with South and North Korea in 1953, and Vietnam in 1975. I want to show the next slide that refer to the, sorry. This one, okay. This graph is showing the education index published by the UNDP related to education performance between Indonesia, compared to some other countries around Southeast Asia. So, as I mentioned before, we independence in 1945. And then Vietnam ended their war in 1975. But refer to the education achievement, we are quite, maybe we can say that Vietnam overtake us with their performance. Okay, let's don't compare with the other countries like Malaysia or Thailand or South Korea. Their performance are far above us. So for example, this is education index. I compare with other 5 countries in Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, the graph is questioning, yes, the questioning why during our 70 years independence, but our education achievement is lag behind countries that may be independent after us. Yeah. The second indicator that I want to show in this presentation is about the PISA score. Yes, the next slide. So, to this graph, the result of the global survey conducted by the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, or PISA, for student age 15 years, showed that the average score of Indonesian students was, so in the last survey, like 371 in reading, 379 in mathematics, and 396 in science. Those records were far behind the average of the OECD country participant. So, for example, the average of reading is 487 and 489 for math and science skill. Refer to the research report by Rivina 2019. So from this graph, we can compare the situation of our education achievement compared to some other country. So from 2000 PISA result from 2000, 2003, because the PISA conducted the survey every 3 years, we can see the trend on reading. So 371 and then improve to 382, 393, 4.402, but decreasing again in the last 3 years. Also, we can see the achievement of Indonesian students in mathematics, also in science. This is a big question for us, ladies and gentlemen. Why? What is the problem with Indonesian education system? Yes. Why is the success of expanding access at the primary and secondary level not accompanied by continuous quality improvement? We know the access to primary and secondary education in Indonesia is quite good. Refer to statistic, most very close to 100%, 100%. Some other level of education is more than 100%. Why the achievement in access, improving the access of education during the Orde Lama, the old order, is not continued by the, not followed by the good quality, yes. So the new order baru considered as successful, but what about this, the information? There has no consistent policy at the last 20 years due to the vulnerability to political change. I think Dr. Dia might aware that every Minister of Education, they bring their own policy and they not continue to the first that already built in the blueprint of development. So like every minister change the policy and then they think that better to build their own policy rather than continue to the long-term plan that already built by the previous minister. This is very typical Indonesia.
Yes,
I want to be quick. The weak policy ground compared with OECD data regarding to the cost and effectiveness of intervention. Meanwhile, we are more enthusiastic in raising teacher salaries, while the impact on quality is insignificant. So I will give one example here. The level of understanding to policymaker about the quality of education is considered as low. Because myself, as a member of National Accreditation Board for School and Madrasah, I observed that the government comprehension regarding the quality of education, as well as the key factor determining the quality of education, for me is still very weak. Why? Because most of the education policy is not based on the very robust research. This is maybe embarrassing, but we can see by our own eyes that many policy that is baseless. For example, I might faster, yes. There is a data from the government about teacher certification. Yes, I give example here in 2020, teacher certification will burden the government with 55.1 trillion rupiah. Yes, So this is very, very big expand of the government, but unfortunately refer to the finding of the study by the World Bank that the doubling of the teacher, Dr. Dia, it doesn't impact to the teacher quality. Yeah, this is one big problem with Indonesian policy. The double spending on teacher salary doesn't impact at all to the teacher quality and of course to the classroom quality, teaching quality. I will show in the next graph. The ML is the graduate quality, and the PB is learning process, and the MG is teacher quality. Actually, this is very profound theory that the output of education is affected by the teacher quality and then the learning process. The two very, very important factor that affect to the education quality, education output or graduate quality. Learning in the classroom level and the teacher quality, the two things. And then from the case of teacher certification, it was very profound that no impact of the doubling of the salary to the teacher performance. Actually, the thing that we need to improve the quality of education is the classroom level. That's very, very micro level that we have to improve. Not the salary itself, but how. Also, maybe we might improve the salary, that's okay. But the thing that's very important to develop is the teacher quality in the classroom level. So this is another example. The last one, because I know the time is running, I give you example about the curriculum 2013. It replacing the what we call school level curriculum or KTSP. Yes. You know, maybe also Dr. Dia might aware that the curriculum was planned only 1 year. And then it's very, maybe we, very fragile because how can we change the culture of teacher in assessing the student from cognitive assessment to authentic assessment with only 1 year preparation? So this is another example that two things, the very weak research base and the policy making, and the second one that I have mentioned before is the instability of educational policy. Because to change curriculum, maybe Dr. Dia, we need maybe 5 years or maybe 10 years to prepare the teacher to get the best result of the new curriculum. Significant development or other country around Southeast Asia. I hope that in depth, it doesn't fall for lighter discussion. And
okay, it's okay. Open our eyes, we hope that Muhammad education in Indonesia.
Of course, yeah. You are working from UMJ.
Inshallah. Very interesting. But due to the time we have, I just read 2 questions from the participants.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I will check.
Yes, this question.
Yeah, I will check. There is still right
to answer.
Wait, just a moment, please. I think that's all of the participants. Most of the participants are from Muhammadiyah universities here.
Okay.
There are.
If no question for me because might be difficult to answer.
Because we all of Muhammadiyah.
Yes. You know. Oh, the question from moderator.
Yes. Mr. Sayuti, what do you think about how can Muhammadiyah lead the education in Indonesia? because as we know that Muhammadiyah is the oldest organization in Indonesia, especially in Asia. Asia already 100 years over. But now we can see that a lot of school then looks like Asia left behind. So what do you think? How can Muhammadiyah or Asia make a categorization for the young Muhammadiyah or young Asia to be continue the vision of Muhammadiyah or Asia, because the phenomena looks you can see that maybe we left behind the others. That's real.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Very difficult question. Dr. Dia, I went to many places in Indonesia. There's maybe around 30 provinces in Indonesia. And then I also travel to very small island in many part of Indonesia. And then I can see the strength of the Muhammadiyah in the small island where the government doesn't able to build school. Muhammadiyah is exists there. But actually, Dr. Dia, education is the responsibility of the government. So don't forget with that. So this is the constitutional obligation of the government to deliver, to mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa. Yeah, actually the role of Muhammadiyah is supplying with the good example with 270 million people with very diverse. You know the situation in your campus in Jakarta very close to the president of Jokowi, and other part of Indonesia is very diverse. So this is not easy, I know, but we have to stick on the performance that we are agreed to achieve compared to other countries. So if we are not spending time only for something useless, we might focus to improve, for example, the two things I mentioned before, teacher quality and then classroom quality. That is key. That is very important key. So we have to improve the quality in the classroom level and then directed by the good teacher. The two keys that we have to stick together, because that's the key of education quality. Yes. So we have a lot of LPTK,
Yes.
teacher training, and then we have to build them in the high level of quality so we can contribute better to this our beloved country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bapak Saitu. That's a wonderful answer, and we wish that Muhammadiyah will be give the best, as we know that we try to do our best, right?
Insya Allah.
Insyaallah. Thank you very much, Bapak Sayuti. Selamat siang. Selamat
Selamat siang.
stay safe, keep healthy.
Insya Allah. I'm going home.
It's okay. It's
Okay,
fine.
okay. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And now, we go to next session. I will give my time to the moderator. The next session is keynote speaker from Professor Ahmad Rozalan from Former of Guidance and Counseling of UTM. And the moderator is my best friends, Miss Mutiarani, MPD. Miss Mutiarani, the time is yours. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Mr. Rector, Professor Dr. Saiful Bahri SHMH, Honorable Mr. Dean and Vice Dean of Faculty of Education, Universitas Muhammadiyah, Jakarta, and then Honorable and welcome to our 2020 ICONTAC, Professor Ahmad Ruslan. Thank you for having you here in this best occasion. It is my honor. My name is Mutiarani, and I will be the moderator for this session. And thank you so much for the best occasion that the committee gave to me. Assalamualaikum, Prof. Okay. So before we continue to hearing his best presentation, let me introduce his biography. Professor Ahmad Ruslan Yunus is a professor, and then he has some certification in Hogan, Oasis, Tajma, NLP coach, and then NLP practitioner, and then NLP neurosemantic practitioner, and then NLP lab profile practitioner. So I go on to academic qualification. For the academic qualification, he start in as a teacher, has a teacher certificate from Maktab Perguruan Sultan Idris in Malaysia, and then he continued to teacher specialization certificate in Maktab Perguruan Ibrahim, Malaysia, and then he has a Bachelor of Education, Guidance and Counseling from University Putra, Malaysia, and then Master of Science, Guidance and Counseling from University Putra, Malaysia, and then PhD, Guidance and Counseling from University Putra, Malaysia. And then next, working experience. He start from a teacher, and then teacher and headmaster in Sekolah Kebangsaan Lipat Kajang in Pahang, and then associate professor in Faculty Technology Management and Technopreneurship, University Technical Malaysia, Melaka, and then as a professor in Faculty of Technology Management and Technopreneurship in University Technical Malaysia, Melaka. Okay. So for his administration experience, he's also a senior assistant until he to be a dean in University of Technology Management Entrepreneurship, University Technical Malaysia, Melaka. So this is the biography that Professor Rosalind has. So this is, let's welcome him in our presentation. Times is yours.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning, everyone. Honorable Director, Honorable Dean, and all docents, and all guest speakers and participants of ICONTAC 2020. I hope that you can hear me clearly. Do you hear me clearly, Madam Materani? Do you?
Yes, I hear. I hear clearly your voice.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Let me start with share my slide here. You need to enable me.
Okay.
Host disable participant. Please enable me. All right, now I can. Okay. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to express my UMJ, University Muhammadiyah Jakarta.
Have you got the access, Prof?
Okay. So I have a problem here. There's something pop up in my stuff. Okay. Let me start. The thing that the topic that today is it is echo. You listen my.
Can you would you rejoin the Zoom meeting once more?
Or rejoin.
Okay, Prof.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now can you see me now?
Yeah.
Am I online now?
Share screen, I mean.
Am I online now?
Yes. Okay, please.
Problem again here. Okay, have you can you see my slide now?
Not yet, Prof.
Do you see my slide now?
No, not yet, Prof.
Not yet. Okay.
Yes.
So how should I do it now? How should I
Prof, I'm really sorry. Would you like to send the file of the PPT to the group, to the WhatsApp group of keynote speaker, so we can share from here?
Okay, let me do it again. Okay, do you see my slide now?
Okay.
All right. Okay. I just was.
Yeah.
3-4 minutes here already. Okay.
Okay, please, Prof.
Yeah. As I said, my field of expertise is counseling and psychology. So most of my presentation, I would like to share my reflections on what in terms of psychology base and see how we can strive in the new normal in a way of see how individual counseling can profiling strategies. Okay. Before I start, I cannot move forward my slide. Okay. Let's just see this slide, everyone. I like to for everyone focus on to these slides. Okay, next slide. And the third slide. I assume that some of us see it moving, and also some will see it moving very fast and moving slowly. This is indicate something. When you see this thing move, we call it you have a bit of stress, right? We have this is a stress indicator. Stress. If you see the thing moving, I hope that you can focus in the chat room who see this move, and if you the faster you see it move, it shows that you have a high stress at this moment. Okay, so accept it as stress is common. Stress is common. So when we want to choose our shirt today, we know we also have stress. What color of shirt we want to choose is considered also a stress. And coming back to the era that the environment that we are here now, which is we are in the pandemic of COVID-19, where everyone is going through a very difficult time. But I think I want to share my reflections on what should we do, and it's very close to every one of us. It's very close to every of us. Things that I like to share today is very close to all of us. Of course, we understand that our environment now, from the WHO website, they say that we are going to fight this in the war. Is far from over. We can consider that it's going many years ahead of us. We are in the new norm, new normal. We are not no more free to do what we did before. So this is things that we cannot avoid. Now, as a counselor, as a psychologist, I invite everyone, being future teachers, being in education, we are going to guide the youngsters, young peoples to the world. So we also can practice what we share today in our own practice of education. So I'm going to cover three parts today. First one is self-assessment, which I'm going to introduce the trait and factor aspects, and the second one is the adaptation technique to the new norm, to the new normal, and third is the way forward of where we move. Okay, I start with trait and factors. Those who familiar with career guidance technique or theory will understand this. I want things to remember: 1, 2, 3. The first one is understand self, understand ourselves. Second one is understand the environment where we are in, and we see how we can congruence ourselves with the environment. So we mesh ourselves with the environment. So that is, remember these three steps. This is trait and factor step introduced by Parson way back 1907. Is very classic theory in occupational choice, where before we decide to go to embark into any career, we need to understand ourselves first, our interests, our aptitude, abilities, and also our limitation. And then we understand what we are going to be in, what environment you are going to join. This is understand the environment, and then we try apply through reasoning, matching ourselves with the environment. Let me go with number one first. Understand self. I would like to introduce here two very simple tools for us to understand, because when we understand ourselves better, then we can embark in any, and we can adjust ourselves with the environment or whatever we are, the condition we are in. So I'm going to introduce these two. It's very simple. It's very practical in the presentation. So the one is brain dominance, and the second one is lab profile. Okay, we start with brain dominance. Do you know which side of brain you are? Which orientation are we are? Which brain are dominant to you? Are you left brainer or right brainer? Always people mention that. This is very simple. I just want to introduce to bring our awareness that how important we understand ourselves. Okay. Of course, the question is, do we understand which brain is our dominant? Which brain is everyone's dominant? Yeah. How to measure it? Let me explain more. This is a left brain with logic. The preferred activities for left brain: collecting data, analysis, understanding how things work, judging ideas based on facts. Alright, vision people, where they prefer looking at the big picture of things, taking initiative to start. Taking initiative, people didn't do, they started to do the things. Challenging assumptions, usual metaphoric thinkings. These are right brainer. And The other one is feelings. The right brainer also feelings, what they call character of a feelings is started from the right brain. And listening to expressing ideas, do a lot of reflection and give meanings, looking at everything as we understand as Muslim. The first verse was Iqra, which is the meaning of Iqra is baca, where we understand what around us and put it into our personal meaning. That is be done more by right brainer people. But it doesn't matter which brain you are, but to understand is more important. To know that which one is you are, to understand which one is better, rather than you just go on doing your life without you understanding ourselves. So this is very important to me. In 30 years experience in teaching, I see that it's hard for a teacher to deliver the knowledge without understand the learning style of the people, of the students. Okay, how to measure this? Or maybe what is this one? You are left hemisphere or right hemisphere of brain. To become innovative, by the Herman, he said that left and right brain, meaning that if you are left brainer people, you also need to visit and do a lot of right brain. That will trigger innovation in ourselves, innovative character. If you are right brain people, go and do left brain activities. Okay, how? You need to understand what is left brain and right brain. Okay, how to test? How to get to know which brain are dominant? We have tests. This example of test is a pen and paper test. So when we respond and we conclude it into, and also I want to do one simulation to everyone here. I invite everyone to join me here. Okay, let us put your hand spontaneously, promptly, doing which one. So please everyone do, which hand are you? These two hands meet together and cross all fingers in between. So can you see now which thumb which thumb is on top? If you are left thumb on top, you are right. This activity controlled by your right brain. If everyone have only one style. For me, for example, for instance, my left thumb is always on top. I cannot adjust to be spontaneously to make it my right thumb on top. It's going to be always my left thumb on top. So this activity is controlled by my right brain. If anytime I doing this, my right brain is controlling the activity. Okay. If you cross your hand, let us everyone cross our hand. See which hand is on top. If your left hand is on top, you are right brainer. Yeah, your that activity is controlled by right brain. By left brain, sorry. If your right hand is on top, if your left hand is on top, it's controlled by the right brain. Right? Oppositely. That's why, do you understand why the gods, Allah arrange our salat is why we put our right hand on top? Because that activity is controlled by your left brain, where salat is very structured manner. Am I right? Salat is always in structured manner. There is a special routine. You cannot do wrong on those things, which is tertib, all those things. You need to, that's why the salat, we perform it, we put right hand on our left hand, because right hand on our left hand, meaning that the activities, the whole salat controlled by left brain. So left brain just now meaning that we must structure, we must follow procedure, we must step by step, we cannot avoid do anything else as what been told to do. Okay, okay. And another one is cross your leg. Which leg is on top? If your left leg on your right leg is your left leg is on top of right, is controlled by right brain. If your left leg, your right leg on top is controlled by left brain. Okay, this is some simulation which I like to share with everyone here. And come to now the next one, understand self by using lab profile. Lab is meaning language and behavior profile. This lab profile is a way how you get motivated and how you process information or how you make decision. Okay, let us say this we have four sets of dichotomies where proactive and active, reactive, moving towards and moving away, internal, external, and option and procedure. Okay, what is meaning by proactive? Some that we use in our words, in our sentence, when we are talking. These are some of the words. If you always use now, do it, just do it, make sure it happen, you are considered as proactive people, taking action with less or no consideration. You just do. Where reactive people is motivated to wait, analyze, consider and respond of others. You see, wait and see first. Then if we want to see the words of these people, thinking out of it first, these are the maybe, perhaps, seems to be, these are the words that being used by reactive people. If you are always use now, do it, just do it, you are proactive. If you use maybe, perhaps, seems to be, this, you are reactive type of people where you wait and see, and your motivation came from the data you collected before you are moving to do something. Okay, next one is moving towards and moving away. Moving towards is motivated to achieve the future goal. You look ahead. You do things because you want to gain something in front of you. Where moving away is motivated to overcome the bad situations. You want to run from the misery. You want to run from the situation which are hurting you. So the words that you always on the right side is always you will be used for moving away people. Don't want, I don't want, I will avoid, I don't. For example, you ask a student, I give you a very simple example. You ask student in classroom, why you come to university, why you study? They answer the same question to everyone. Your answer you can see, you can divide them whether they are moving towards or moving away. If the answer is okay, I want to have a better life, I want to have a good house, I want to have a lot of money, that is moving towards people. If they are saying that I want to help my father, they already have a tough time in their life, so I want to bring my parents away. I don't want to be like my parents in the difficult life. But that is moving away type, right? So again, next one is internal and external. Internal referring to own benchmark and standard, which is you set your own standard. I understand that the word you usually use is I understand, own decision, I aware. Whereas external focus on the standard others of others or environment, where the words always we are referring to this character is feedback, evidence shows, from what I heard, and they are setting external standard. Okay, next, option and procedure tend to develop procedure and system. The option people, they are creating the system, whereas the procedural person, they will follow existing procedures and system. They will very good in executing the procedures. The option people is very good creating a new system. So that is on the right side is what is the word. So now where is the important and how one can process information with VAK. VAK is meta programs V for visual, auditory, A for auditory, K for kinesthetic. Which one is more preferable by you for or any one of people of us around us? So because when we understand, let's say I'm giving you a simple example. If you do discussion with visual people, you must do visual information. You must deliver information by visual. How is visual people learning style? Use the three main sensory server: visual. Okay, this is learning style. Visual is learn through written language. They're good. I'm a visual people. If I'm giving you very simple example, my own example. If people come to me, a student come to me to discuss, I put in front of me blank paper. I will write. I will do something. I do sketch because I want to understand. I want to visualize what I understand. And auditory is people who learn, who listen, who often talk to themselves, may move their lips and read out loud, may have difficulty with read and writing stars, often do better talking to a colleague or a tape recorder and hearing what he was said. Some these people who are recording, you come across with students who record everything because they want to listen back, because they are auditory. They want to listen back what already been listened before. And the next one is kinesthetic, where referring to the movement and touch. Kinesthetic, which is when ready, they like to scan the material first and then focus on the detail. They listen first and then they will focus on the detail. They get the bigger picture first and then, okay. All this can be understand just doing a very simple simulation or eye assessing cue. Okay, this is example. When you put your eyes on, okay, see the the red color is right, is meaning right, our left. What we see is our left. Right is on the face, on the cartoon face. Okay, his right, our left. Visual, C is construct. Visual construct. So when you ask questions to a student, when you see the eyes is looking up and to the right, he is visual people and he try to construct, he try to create. But if he put his eyes to the left, he want to recall. This is visual. Visual people will see the eyes will be more upper side of the eyes. And the auditory people is horizontally in the middle. When you are going to write, he is auditory construct. Try to construct a new or something. And while on the left is auditory recall. And when you are looking down, you are kinesthetic people by feeling. If you go to the left, down and left is you digital auditory, meaning that you will self-talk. You do a lot of self-talking. This is how we can try. I suggest that teachers must understand this technique to understand our people's students, so that we can deliver our whatever into. Okay, what is the relation? This is how we can do some pen and paper test to get which is you, whether you are visual, you are the dominant auditory, or kinesthetic, or digital auditory. Okay, not understand environment. As I said earlier, we are in the pandemic era, which is I found there are people who've been saying that we are not going to no turning back already. We are not going to have life that we have before. We need to accept what we are in now. So these are the environment, and see how to congruence, mesh ourselves, coping and healing. So I want to do a very simple simulation here. First is SWOT analysis, and then the RBT. I have only 6 more minutes here. Okay, let me do it very quickly here. Self-assessment is a SWOT analysis. Everyone understands SWOT by these people who's right, Albert Humphrey. way back in 1927. This is very powerful. I use this to my student. When student want to go for interview, job interview or whatever interview, I suggest them to use this SWOT analysis. Because as everything is your strength, what unique resources you can draw on, what on others see on your strength. When the weaknesses is what could you improve. We must understand also weaknesses. Why? Let me explain after this. What opportunities are open to you on the opportunities? How can you turn your strength into opportunities, right? And next one is threat. What could harm you? What is your competitors doing? In the pandemic time, let us do this analysis to us individually. Okay, SWOT, SW is internal, ONT is external, where from strength you can overcome the threat, and your weaknesses can be overcome by opportunities you will take. Right? So let us see example in the pandemic time. Your strength, probably you have good product, you have produced marketing videos, everything. You can produce, you publish in YouTube or everything. I told my student, this is the high time for you all to go into the e-marketing, all those things. So use all the entrepreneurial skill. This is the strength, and overcome get infected. So you avoid to all normal. You don't meet people already. So this strength can overcome the threat. You from get infected, and the opportunities we can learn a lot from YouTube for any sources, the platform learning online, and of course will take settle your lack of knowledge and skill of online. So this, if we are able to do so analysis, we can do where we can move forward. Okay, another one, this is last one. REBT technique is a technique in counseling where we use rational emotive behavior therapy by Albert Ellis. In this condition of pandemic, actually they also call ABC. The event is actually A. We are now in the A event, activity event, and from the activity event we have some belief. We have belief in everything, and then from that event, by the process by your belief, will have a consequence. Your feeling, your sadness, your worry, and then now is the time disputing the belief. We should be able to overcome, to dispute the belief that if we feel difficulties in going through the era of pandemic, so you dispute the belief. Example of belief is, okay, it's going to be is going to be difficult in this new normal. This REBT teach how to identify thoughts that result in upset feeling, think more rational, examine should, must, ought, and which are blindly accepted, because this should, must, ought is sometimes is not good for common healthy life. Human are born with potential for rational thinking, but also crooked thinking, so we'll fall victim to the irrational belief. In ourselves, the irrational belief will make us as a victim. So re-educate. Actually, ABC, A is not important. The important is B, the belief. The activity, events, and belief and consequence. B is cause, not A as psychodynamics, the belief. That's why I give you an example here. In the era of pandemic now, how we dispute. So we teach everyone, avoid 3 C's or 3 S in Malay. So practice 3W. This is disputing some irrational belief. Sometimes we feel so bad and we have no knowledge of taking care of it. So we give them the knowledge. And also in Malaysia, for example, we have a lot of the government communicate. We are now in the third, for your information, we are in the third wave, because recently we are now back into PKPP, which is what we call PKPP is CMO, where we are going back to the CMO now because we have a lot the increase of numbers. So we have already 30,000 cases in Malaysia in total now. Previously, last month, in 1 month ago, we have only less than 20,000, but now we have already 32, 33. Today, yesterday, 34,000 cases. So every day, already 4 digits. We are worried, and the government. This is disputing activity. This is how sometimes the belief that upset can be overcome by some action. So with students, with everyone, we must teach them. We re-educate them. The key word just now in the term is re-educate. So by putting something put in place, good properly, teach people to do the right way is disputing. And we have good feeling. And the way forward, at that new life, government, organization support, get to all informations, work from home, long distance interactions, doesn't matter. Just now we heard our prof earlier from Auckland University mentioning about it's not about it's physical distance and not social distance. Don't worry about, we still go in social life. We'll be in good social activities. Just distance ourselves. Flexibility, do some flexibility adjustment for workforce, 20%, 50%, 70% come to office for work, for example. And self-assessment, of course. To everyone, I would really like to suggest we see which our own character. We understand ourselves, and then we see what is suitable with our traits. And educate information, quality and quantity. Provide a lot of information to everyone. Not the government only, we tell our students, tell our people who in our guidance, everything, and adapt. Thank you, everyone. This is 7 wonders of life. We see it different way. Not 7 wonders that we have Egypt, we have everything, Great Wall of China, but 7 wonders which is very near to every one of us, to taste, to see, to hear, to feel, to laugh, to love. All right, so this is things, wonder that we need to keep. Thank you very much, everyone. I say what my reflections on what the more important here, understand ourselves and go by in life anything that really suit with our own character and trait. Thank you.
Professor Rosalind Ford, very valuable and has a very good knowledge for us to open our mind, especially from your presentation just now. For me and for us here, we are so blind about the information and the knowledge that you have shared for us today. But we know and we learn in a very small session, in a very limited session, but we gain a lot of information from your presentation just now. So thank you so much, Prof. But I hope you can answer one of the questions we have. Prof, we have a very difficult situation here, especially in pandemic. We have to face our student in a virtual meeting. So we cannot have a good relation and good communicative as usual as we have in the real situation. So would you like to give the tips and trick for the teachers how to cope those situations? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the very good questions that have been asked as well to me. We are okay. The first thing we should remember, we cannot avoid go through with it. That we cannot already, don't think of that we can go back as previous what we did. I mean, we cannot do meeting. We cannot just do whatever we have done before. Now, to take it as the reality we cannot avoid, we as teachers, or we as educators, or every parents can think of something innovatively. Probably the very crucial words we cannot get along, guide the students very close, face to face, we are going to be lack of empathy or probably lack of understanding their problems or their issues or matters that they bring to us. And I would suggest that the IT, the social network is very canggih already. Malaysian people call it very canggih, which is you can already get along with. I think the thing is now to make people to make use with it. Number one, to make use with the new environment and the new norm. Okay. Number two, get to understand, get the skill of the new technology. That's why I think all universities, every sector of our life, of our department in our country, in our region or whatever, go and focus to development, give money for people to gain the knowledge and experience and skill of make use with the IT, with the interactions, with the what you call online interaction. And there are also cases. We look into the other part of the water in glass. We look back during our all normal time. There are also problem where people didn't understand their students. There are people also didn't understand with the people who interact with. That is where it's not about we change the era and then we change the environment, we change the style of our life now. We are going to be not going to be good as before. No, I believe that. I believe that we are going. The only thing is we are in the early stage of the things. Trust me. If you are a teacher, you can express empathy through online. Of course, you cannot touch the people, but sometimes I like to share with you one technique that I always use to make people more come to understand and listen to us is do a lot of what we call metaphoric activities, meaning that you give things with metaphor. You give example, you don't tell people to do anything. You don't tell people to do, but give stories, tell them example, create example. If I'm a docent, if I'm a dean of a school right now, I want to be, what do you what do you think I want to do to ask my docent to do? Create a lot of stories, good stories. For example, I have one story, very short story. People go studies abroad, and he has problem to finish her PhD, but her husband told her a story, and from that story, there's the wife able to finish the PhD because in the story is a good example. Nowadays, you can see a lot of videos, a lot of clips, a lot of TikTok, a lot of anything that people do. There are message in it. So be creative to do that such to comply our message to everyone we want to comply it. So the thing is, as I show in the left brain, right brain just now, be innovative. Find some ways. I believe that we are in the good. We have no problem in our new era, new normal. We are going to do fine, but be positive. Think about, take advantage of the how technology can.
Thank you so much, Prof. It's opened my mind, hard situation. You give a lot of inspiration for us today. So, is it still time? Or is there any question from the chat?
Yeah, I can still wait. Don't worry.
Yeah.
In Malaysia now is only in 1 hour earlier than your Jakarta time.
Okay.
Okay.
If there is no any question, I have a next question.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, Prof. The question from the audience is, I'd like to ask about what background
Yes. What background?
put for